Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range.
I'm having a good time.
You are?
Yeah.
I can tell.
And we are rolling too.
Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks. Terrible happy talks. Today's guest is Loki Madireddi. Loki is a husband, father, chef, and founder of the Trust the Loki Food Retreats and the Loki Cooks Fellowship. Loki dedicates his time to creating experiences, supporting and nurturing and mentoring others who have a purpose and passion for food. Loki was born in Mysore, but raised in Chennai, India, and moved to Australia in his early 20s. Loki's journey has taken him from India to Australia to being a university graduate, to husband, to father, to being the people's favourite on reality TV show MasterChef Australia, to Indonesia, to creating food retreats in the Himalayas, to creating his self-funded scholarship program, the Loki Cooks Fellowship, and beyond. I did a little research on Loki prior to this episode, and I watched a short clip on his website about one of Loki's Himalayan food retreats, and someone on the episode, maybe it was his friend, I'm not sure, and he can talk about it if he likes, said, and I quote, "If you love something, do it. Don't worry about money. Money will come. Don't live someone else's dream." I really liked it, and I feel that this quote echoes Loki's life journey. Loki's kindness and approachable nature make him loved by many. His passion for food translates into all that he does, and it is obvious to me that making food for others is where he finds his purpose and sense of spirituality. Today, he is with me to share his journey, experiences, challenges, and hopes for the future. Loki Madireddi, welcome.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you. A very good morning.
How are you, brother?
Very good. And yourself?
I'm good.
And thanks for having me here.
Oh, mate, it's such a pleasure.
It is.
Like,
mine too.
You're just the raddest dude. Like, even we just had breakfast together here at Zest Cafe in Ubud.
I don't want to rub it into people who are listening, but it's yummy as breakfast.
Well, like, yeah, I must admit, prior to breakfast, I was like a bit nervous going, oh, is he like... He's a food expert. Like, is he just going to like criticize the whole thing? And I was like self-conscious. Like, so how'd you rate your breakfast?
So I rate the breakfast is with full of love, and I could eat every morsel of food that's being served with love and affection. That's what I can say. That's the best food I ever had so far. That's true because it's nourishing your soul. That's the most important part I felt when I was eating.
So you're telling me that whilst eating that breakfast, you could tell that it was made with love?
Yes, absolutely.
Give me some like explain that.
Yeah, I can very clearly. The biggest critic for my life is my wife, and when I'm angry and anxious, or so any brothers and sisters of this emotion of anxiety, fear, anger, all these are brothers and sisters. And when you cook or even serve a glass of water with that emotion, the energy is transferred and the person who is consuming would not feel good. And I'm pretty sure that the critic, blindfoldedly, my wife keeps telling me, like, you're not in a good space of mind today. And I said, how do you know? There's a thought process happening in your mind that's reflecting in the food. That's so clear because you're a good cook, great cook, according to my wife, who's the greatest critic for me. And she says that it was not the way it should be because I can feel it. So if you're genuine with your feelings, you can absolutely see that. That's what I saw today.
Amazing. I'm so glad to hear that.
Same.
And like, without being facetious, like, Your wife is your biggest critic?
And also mentor.
And
so
mentor.
who I am today is because of her. So absolutely.
Why?
A long story. Yeah. I actually found myself after finding her. That's what I can say.
Would you say she helped you find yourself?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Why? Like, in what way?
So up until I met her, I was in an auto mode and unconscious action mode, where I used to do things in a pattern and repetitive, and also I was saying why the life was treating me bad. It's actually not the life treating me bad. I was going in circles and in my comfort zone. And then my wife, actually, now wife, then a friend, girlfriend, and my partner pointed out consciously what my pattern was and made me realize within me who I was then and what choices I can make. And those conscious choices gave different outputs. So when the output came and then, so I was doing this in an auto mode. And now I'm in a conscious mode of making choices, giving me different results. Now, that's not good or bad. That is conscious choices.
Conscious living, conscious thinking.
Yes, I'm still learning, but yes.
Would you agree with me if I said that a lot of people are living unconsciously?
Absolutely, because it's you're living somebody else's values that's been instilled in you in certain ways unconsciously, because as a kid you already have all the knowledge in this world, but that is lost because the world gives you a perspective and instilled in your mind that is given a form, and you think that is the truth, and you start telling a story in your mind, and that becomes your reality, and then you're lost. And then you're trying to find yourself to become that kid who had everything in you.
For the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of people do it for the rest of their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you often hear about men who get into their early 40s and they have what they regard as a midlife crisis.
Yes.
I kind of feel like it's a really crucial time, because maybe going in line with what you just said,
yep,
it's when they realise, hey, it's time to tap into my real feelings.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you feel, just to recap what you just said, you feel that your wife opened you up to becoming more conscious in your decision making and your thought processes. So can you give me an example of, like, how are you living your life consciously on a day-to-day basis?
So it's a everyday process. No, it is
because I can give you an example to help you along there if you like.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, I consciously try to think about every bit of food I put in my mouth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I never used to do that. So I would when I was younger, I would go to McDonald's and eat a Happy Meal and not think twice about it, and not think twice about how it was going to make me feel afterwards.
Absolutely.
And then would feel terrible, and then just not even be conscious enough to realise that I felt terrible. There you
100%.
go. So how would you say that you're living consciously?
So if I'm feeling, so there's a mind and there is a heart, and the heart is referred to as intuition. People think heart means right from the heart. No, it is the intuition is called the heart, and the mind is what is analytically thrown at you. The facts, figures that is meant to be calculated to give certain output, that is called the mind. Now, my wife tells me that how to have a conscious understanding and don't get mixed up with the mind and what information is given by intuition naturally and what is given by mind. For example, to be very specific, which I will be talking in down the lane with the whole story, there will be some kind of analytical output that is thrown in my mind to give a certain desired expectations, and you do actions to grab them. Could be money, could be fame, it could be that you don't have, and people say that you don't have that, so you want to grab that, and that's coming from mind. But what is coming from intuition is basically something that I do, those actions which makes me happy,
Is that what's guiding you?
Yes, that is what constantly I'm working on.
Not your mind.
And not my mind. I'm going, when mind throws some information, I go to the opposite way, what I feel. Even though it is not going to be beneficial for me, and I'm scared of that, still I go opposite, because I know that I'm going towards that because I was feeling insecure, or it could be a lack of self-esteem, could be many emotional triggers.
Okay.
So my wife always said, learn to listen to your intuition rather than running behind. For example, in my best life is, after MasterChef, everybody wanted fame. So basically, everybody did actions towards their fame.
When you say everybody, like the other contestants?
Other contestants, other human beings that I'm, in my experience, in the vicinity of MasterChef.
They're trying to use that platform to propel them in others.
And
which is logical.
Logical, yes, because many people came to me and said, this fame doesn't last long, so you got to make the most of it, and blah, blah, blah. So, and you do actions that is not making you happy.
Gotcha.
Right? And the other thing is, for me, the happiness is cooking.
Right.
And what, I don't know whether it'll give me return of money, or am I going to earn money? Will I be able to hold the family? I don't have those questions. It's just pure joy. But out of that joy, many things could happen, but you don't have a form for it. And that scares you. People are scared about not knowing. And people always want to go what's known already to them. And that's why they seek, but they'll get lost in trying to find what they know.
Like striving?
Striving, yes.
So would you say that you've stopped striving? Do you need do you need help with your headphones? Are they too hot or too loud?
No, it's just falling off.
You know why? I
hate
to be the bearer of bad news. I think you've got them the wrong way around, brother. No, you don't. You don't. Sorry. No, you do have them. You've got them the right way around.
It's just that I'm big-headed.
Same here.
All right.
You comfortable?
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like. Okay, so I just asked you. Then I said, do you feel like you've stopped striving?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean complacent. Correct?
Yes. There is a fine balance between it. In like a personality like me can get complacent if it is about understanding every moment what you need and how you want to act. The best way to say is, I don't want to react, I want to respond.
Explain.
So when things thrown at me, or some kind of a subject comes to my mind, or say I need to do certain actions because of certain things. You need to do certain actions to get what you want. That's for sure. You can't be complacent and say everything is going to come to you. If you need something, you need to do something good in this world, or you want to do something good for yourself, you need to act. But you can't be desperate. That's the thing. But when things come to you, you can't react saying that, for example, somebody calls you for an interview for this beautiful hotel to work with them. You can't be desperate to become, part of them and react. But you got to respond to that interview in the way you are and be yourself. That's called response. Like, that's my dream job. I need to go get it somehow. So you react for everything and say, I'm going to do these kind of all these kind of actions. That means nothing to you. It's not going to get you anywhere. But if you're going to respond, see, I love this job. This is my dream job. But what can I say? If I be myself and give what I have, you're automatically going to land there, because they need that authenticity. If you're trying to be fake and you want to react and become something, forget about it.
Yeah, just I don't know what's going on there. I've never seen that with the headphones. Let me fix that. Yeah, just going back, like you were saying before, you said you were told at one stage that, you sort of had to seize the opportunity of where you were at. in the spotlight for a while there. Did you feel like an innate pressure to try and capitalise on the publicity you were getting?
It's actually, or it can suck you in. What I mean by that is, when you're there in the limelight, it all is connected to what you have been through your childhood as well. It's related to that. It's about handling yourself, right? So there's intent, and then the intent gets lost when you are in such a show and you're getting the limelight, and you forget the intent, and then you try to grab in to get your identity. That's because it's coming from a childhood where they said your family builds up to a conversation saying that you are worth nothing, you don't do anything, you are nothing, you're hopeless, useless. So these negative connotations towards who you are makes you believe that person, and when you finally get something in this world, you try to grab it and become that identity.
Gotcha.
And then that is, it's easier to, even though you have a good heart or a good intent, it's easy to get lost. It's about touching base.
Did you feel like you got lost?
I did. I definitely will agree.
Your intent and your core business was the love of food.
Yes.
Do you feel like when you were caught up, when you were in that new setting that you were sort of thrown into, which would have been, I'm assuming, a fairly dramatic change to your life?
Absolutely.
Did all of a sudden, did you sort of feel like you drifted away from your core business of food loving and food?
For a while, yes, absolutely. And I'm lucky to have my wife, because she's the one who smacked my head and brought me back to the she grounded me, because it's about the purpose of why you're here and what for you're here, and not losing the purpose. And it's great to have a person like that to touch base, and I'm touch wood that I'm lucky. I feel sometimes I'm very privileged, because I get a lot of things easily for me, but I value it now, slowly keeping in touch with gratitude. So I always thank myself and the universe for such an opportunity, and keep it going. So my wife is a critical point. My son is as well. So there's a great deep connection with my son. So he's the one who, she's a very straight person, and she tells me everything very raw. And my son, it gives beautiful explanation, deeper meaning to life. And through him, I learn a lot. And it's constant, like, a kid is teaching me. That's a beautiful point. I'm so happy to have him. Yeah. So that's how I take my life day by day.
I agree, and I feel like I've learned so much from my children. They see the world, some would say, through that, like, rose-coloured glasses. Have you ever heard that saying? But I also just feel like they just see things with more clarity, because they have less baggage or less ego.
100%.
And they really just see things as they see them.
Yep.
And it's like really, really, it's been a huge learning curve for me.
Yep.
Anyway, so look, Loki, you were born in Mysore.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to pronounce it in
Yes,
India.
absolutely.
Can you describe that? How old were you when you left there to go to Chennai?
Yeah, I was 8 months, I believe. That's what my dad told me.
So you don't really have many memories of Mysore?
No. The only thing I could remember is that my name was given there.
Okay.
And nothing more than that.
Geographically, how far would Chennai be?
It's just a bordering state. So it's about a night journey.
Okay.
From Chennai to by train.
And what prompted your family to move?
Oh no, my dad works in railways.
Okay.
And he used to move a lot before my birth, but that was his last stop after my birth, from Mysore to Chennai. That's it. I grew up there. Then till he retired, he stayed in Chennai. Chennai, I grew up in Egmore. It's a suburb where I grew up. So my love affair for food came from the streets of Egmore and around Egmore.
Can you give us a description of that town? How would you pronounce it?
Egmore.
Egmore.
Yeah.
What was it like? Was it in a mountain area? Was it dry? Was it dusty? Give us a picture of what kind of town was it? Was it rich? Was it poor? Was it middle class?
The place where I was is a middle class. Basically, it's a officers' quarters in Egmore, right next to the track.
Okay.
The train tracks, and there's an Egmore station for trains. Even passengers and also goods, where they transport food and other things.
It's like a trading
port. Yeah, absolutely, for sea, and it's a connecting port. So absolutely a major station. So we used to live there. So it used to be a middle class. It's basically a chilled out place where we all get together as in a closed environment. It's a colony, and a colony is basically a group of quarters in one barricade, and we all used to come together, play. That's the scene in Egmore.
Would you describe your childhood as being like a good or like magical childhood?
Very adventurous.
Do you have fond memories of that time in your life?
Absolutely. I did a lot of naughty stuff.
Like what? What do you regard as naughty?
Many naughty stuffs. Basically, I'm a food lover, so I used to...
Stealing food?
Really? Yeah, and stealing money from my dad to go eat certain food that I loved even after they slept. In the night, like at 11 o'clock, at the age of 7, basically, I remember going and, slowly slipping out of the house, going and having this street hawker food where the truck drivers eat. That's my best memory. And coming back and sleeping. So I have done a lot of naughty stuff, yeah.
So stealing money to buy food, I find that interesting. Like, can you maybe remember a dish as a child that you just absolutely loved, and you can remember the taste, the smells? Like, I know for me, for example, growing up as a kid, I'm Australian, but I'll never forget. Like, I just have these vivid memories of, getting money together and buying a big bag of like hot chips, which in Australia we used to wrap in an old newspaper.
Yep.
And then we used to put like white vinegar on them and lemon and salt. And it's so beautiful. Basic, but like I can honestly... And like they used to hand cut all the chips. Nowadays it's all like machine processed.
Cut, yeah.
And I just have these recollections of like sitting around and we get a $2 bag of chips, which was massive. You probably had a kilo of potatoes in there, and we'd all four of us would chuck in 50 cents each, and it was like we'd just sit there eating. I remember exactly how it tasted.
How beautiful was it, Sean?
But that was just chips. Like, so what kind of... Could you relate something similar in India?
Yeah, many. Actually, I don't have one single thing. There's in the school, there's this, the hawkers used to stand out of the school gates, and there's an ice cream man, there's a samosa man who wraps them in the newspaper, and then there is all different types of street food like sandwiches, like Bombay sandwiches sold in Chennai. And yeah, there's many things that I've experienced. But one thing I'm closely relating to what you say is the crabs. The crabs that was cooked. There are two things, but the crabs is first thing, like where my grandmother used to cook in the backyard, and I used to see these live crabs, and then being cooked with all grounded masalas, by handmade and with love, and with explaining me, like I was age 7 and 8, and I fell from this third floor and cracked my head.
What?
I fell off.
What, you fell out of a building?
Yeah, I was
Really?
playing and I fell down, and nobody knew I fell down for about 15 minutes, and I was like unconscious, and then I had to rush to the hospital. They said I might not live because there's excessive bleeding and the bone is touching the brain. So and doctor said that I might anything from the neck below would not work, so I can't guarantee you because he would survive. And my dad said in that case I don't want to see him that way, probably kill him. And
what?
And doctor said I can't do that, but we will try our best, but I'll let you know that it might be a success or it could be a miracle. or it could be it's going to go pear-shaped.
No way.
And I come out of this theater. After that, I was in ICU for about 15 days under observation. Nothing happened. In 1 month, the doctor came when I was in the ward. He asked me, can you please stand up and run? And I can feel my legs were jelly, but I somehow ran and the whole corridor and came back, and he was like, he's perfectly all right. Nothing is wrong with him.
No brain damage.
No brain damage, and you can see me now, all alive and rocking, and still cooking and eating my favorite food.
Amazing.
So that because of that, I had to stay home and
3 stories.
Yes, 3 stories.
Oh my God!
And
how old were you?
I was 8.
Wow.
And
so you remember?
I was 7 years and almost becoming going to be 8 in 1990.
Yeah.
August 2nd this happened, and my birthday was on the November 29th, and I was surprised that I had a big birthday party then. So I was lucky. And that was when I was staying at home, and my grandmother was cooking these crabs, and I remember the dish very vividly. And they asked me when after that's why I said 2 dishes. When the doctor said I can eat solid foods for the first time, he said you can eat whatever you want. It's just that you can't eat meat. And I ordered for roti and onion tomato chutney. That's the go-to comfort food for me.
Yeah.
And I can remember everything.
No way.
In a bag, they brought it to the hospital, and I opened it up, and then it was so lovely. That first smell, the waft of that oil, of that chili powder, and that tangy tomato, and that bread with the ghee. Oh, that is best. And the best thing is after that is staying at home and learning how to make crabs from my grandmother, and that flavor was
so it was
phenomenal.
A masala, like a masala curry?
Masala curry, yeah.
Crab masala
crab
curry.
Masala curry, which my signature dish, apart from prawns.
Oh, that's your signature dish?
Yes, that's I did for my audition crabs masala as well. Prior to the television, they had a tester, and where they see whether I know how to cook. That was the first judging, and then I took my crabs and then cooked it, and then they loved it.
Amazing. And like, I just love that you were saying how with the spices it was all hand ground and made, and
yes,
like it feels like a lost art.
Yes, absolutely. It's like it's all
or
from
we don't
the
have
packet.
time. Who has time for that? Let's go and pre-buy it.
Yes, that's what I wanted to serve people when I want to cook. Like, it has to be transferred. The soul from the ingredients, as it is, has to be nurtured, roasted, hand pounded, made into a beautiful dish, then transferred into your body.
Amazing, man. So, okay, so Chennai, it was a good time, and you have that recollection of that specific food because it was the first meal after you fell out of the building.
Yes.
How interesting.
Yes.
And then, like, how was school for you in Chennai? Like, what was schools like there?
Oh, wow. Where do I start? Where do I end?
Public education?
So, but yeah, it is private.
Private, okay.
Private. But it's got different gradings in different schools, and some are public and some are private institute. So I studied in Don Bosco, the school's name. It's a matriculation higher secondary school. Well, I wouldn't say the school is bad, but the education system is not right for me.
Why?
I'm a very visual person, so it was all theoretical, and you're driven into a method, and I'm not a methodological person. I'm very out there, like learn like a jungle boy, you know. Everything that's out there, and you have to have fun. But if I don't have fun, So my tagline was, I was born intelligent, and the education ruined me.
Listen.
So I've been carrying that tagline forever.
So would you say you learn by doing?
I learn by doing. I learn by making mistakes. That's the key thing, because there's no right and wrong, right, Shannon? So basically, you try to learn the natural way.
Gotcha.
And there's no, this way, that way. It is learnt the way you feel comfortable and the way you adapt it. And it is not necessary that my learning should be the same as the other person. It should be each one's individual capacity and capability and how they understand and adapt to it.
Man, I just hear that time and time again.
Yep.
From many walks of life, even people that are really strong academically.
Yep.
And good at the traditional methods of mathematics.
Yep.
Or English or literacy. They all say it. I learn by doing. And
don't get me wrong, but there are people who like that and can pursue that. That's so there is no hard and fast rule that it shouldn't be that way, but it has to be tailored to each one. Like, that person likes thriving in an academic way, theoretical way. He likes to learn or she likes to learn that way. Yes, allow it. So it is meant to be allowing people to be themselves. That's my point.
Right.
And that's I'm not preaching that they should. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No. Go.
I'm not trying to preach that they should change the education system. But it is to, first of all, understand what the person who wants to learn is. That's the major point to identify before we teach.
Look, exactly. And I tell students this all the time, and you mentioned it at the start, like, there's a lot of students who struggle with conforming to the structures of many school systems the way they are, for what you said, and they automatically go into this thought pattern of, I'm dumb.
Yep.
But they're not.
They're not.
They just learn differently.
Correct.
And individualised learning plans are so crucial. And I think if public education moved to that direction where they spent more time on developing individual learning plans for each student, like logistically it is very hard.
Yes.
When you have restricted resources and all the other factors that need to be considered. But I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm not trying to change education or whatever. Like, and I don't want to speak out against education. Well, I kind of am. And that's me, because I'd like to see progress, and it is progressing in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
There's my rant for the day.
Yeah, no. Absolutely, you're allowed. And the thing is that very particularly I see, I had just a blackout in my mind. But what I wanted to say about the education system is the kids actually love learning in a very visual, connecting the logics, and I always loved it. But the most important part is not about the school also. It has to come from the house. It starts from the home. The family needs to support in understanding what this person, he or she or whoever it is, needs. And listening is the most important part. Because they do not communicate the way you want. They communicate the way they want. So you need to be there patiently listening what they want, because at the end of the day, you need to nurture them.
So good, man.
That's
so
my
good.
rant. That's
so
my ranting
good.
today.
I've got no response to that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. What kind of student were you then? Was school a positive experience for you?
No, it was definitely a horrendous experience for me. But I became a person who got used to it, and I used to be called out of the school class every time. I've been called the naughtiest kid. I've been the backbencher. Because I was probably seeking attention because I'm not the coolest guy in studies. So I'm always. Do you know that? Basically, thank you so much for asking this question. 7th grade, I failed in all subjects, including moral science. So moral science, which is, I think so. I didn't have any morals when I stole money from my dad.
Developing your morals.
Yeah, exactly. And I failed, and I was the only person in the class who failed in all subjects, in 12 subjects. And I went home, and my parents didn't want to talk to me because it felt like a disgrace. Then they went to school next day. there was, you try to patch up with the similar people who has the same kind of feelings. There was another friend of mine who's, I don't want to name him, but his stepmother was not treating him well. So he was going through, he failed in all subjects except moral science, but I failed in all subjects including moral science. And we were having lunch together and said, man, my life is miserable. And he said, my life is double miserable, because if I go home, my stepmother is going to, bash me, thrash me. I'm going through this hard life. And I said, let's go. What about we run away from home? And next day, I went and instead of carrying the books in my bag, I carried clothes in my bag and ran off from school.
Why?
And did a lot of adventure that day. And in the night, after doing a lot of adventure, yes, we sold my watch and used that money for food. And we tried to go into another state called Kerala, where it is nice and peaceful and green. We thought we'll steal the bricks and build a house. I don't know what I was thinking then. And then I said, we don't have money to go travel. So what he said, I have some distant relative who doesn't like my family. So we'll go there and get some money and we'll go to Kerala. I said, that's a great idea, but by morning we should leave. And when we went to their house and ate food and slept, and they were talking to us, we shouldn't run away. This is not the age. You have a long life to go. You shouldn't. And we spoke about our family, what we did and how I failed and stuff like that. Next day morning, I told him to get the money and let's go on the adventure. But I opened the door and we find our parents standing out, because they informed them last night and saying that we are here. That's how I got caught and came back home. So that was an adventure. So the studies were like not my part of my life.
Even through high school?
Yes.
Interesting.
So I
So you went to high school in Chennai?
Chennai, yeah.
Okay.
And I studied, I passed it in all odd ways by, all illegitimately. Getting the papers for the paper was leaked and I studied. So I never studied and I had never had a proper education. I passed in some kind of, even in university That's
what I was going to ask you, because you still went to university later on.
Yes, I did. I was persuaded into it because my mom and dad said I need to study IT because that's what the world is, next generation. You've got to earn money in that. That's not my cup of tea.
Was that in your early 20s?
Yeah, early 20s.
Okay.
Did my bachelor's.
And you went to university in Australia?
Yeah, I did my bachelor's in India, Chennai, and did my master's in Gold Coast.
Gold Coast?
Gold Coast, yes, Griffith University.
Oh, wow. So you lived there. How long did you live there for?
For 6 years.
6 years? Yes. How did you like it?
I loved it. I loved it. Sorry about that. I loved it. At the same time, I had no purpose. I didn't know what I was doing because.
So you were just studying for the sake of studying?
Yeah, I studied for the sake of studying. Basically,
in what subject?
Masters in Information Technology.
So that would lead you to what kind of job?
Some coding or probably some kind of IT-related job, which was never my. I can't even dream.
I could not imagine you sitting behind a computer.
Thank you very much. That's the first.
For 10 hours a day.
My wife says the same thing.
Imagine that. I couldn't imagine it myself doing it.
Yeah. So basically, then from there on, I moved on to driving taxis. Can you believe it?
Really?
Yeah, in Gold Coast.
In Gold Coast.
And
what was that like?
That was like good money for
was
me.
It?
Yeah, for me it was because I had no purpose. I had no family. I had no girlfriends or nothing. So I was only committed to making money. But what I was making money for is to work in film industry in India and become an actor and become famous.
You had that dream?
I had that dream. I did some few short films as well.
Did you?
Yes, I did. And failed miserably. But I was doing that all because my family was saying I didn't excel in anything and I was nothing. So I wanted to to grab that identity of being someone in this world, and I can prove them wrong. That I was constantly throwing that at them. Okay. And unconsciously happening, like I will prove you one day, I will prove you.
Would you say they were dismissing you as a dreamer?
Yes, absolutely. That's well said, actually, Shannon. Yeah, they dismissed me being a dreamer and actually even listening out what potential I have.
Gotcha.
They didn't even know what I had. So it was all their dreams and their value systems, which was not quite aligned to me. That doesn't sit well with me, but I am unconsciously living their dream and
At
values.
what stage did you realize that you did not align with their dreams and values?
Oh, that's a very good question. So, 2003, I went to Gold Coast. From there, I was doing all kind of odd jobs, trying to earn money in Australia, take that money back to India, do short films, spend all the money, and come back again. Didn't succeed in film industry. My family was against film industry. They still didn't want me to become that person. And then came back. I said, man, this life is miserable. Let me go to US to visit my sister. And then I went for a yoga retreat in US, Tennessee.
Did you?
Yes. And that was yoga is not for the sake of finding myself. I just wanted to outlet because I was going through a miserable time. I just wanted a calm, peaceful time. Nothing to do with yoga. I just wanted to go run away. Then I meet my wife,
At
then
the yoga retreat? At the yoga retreat?
Yes, in Tennessee. And I fell in love with her immediately. Something happened during those 3 days. And then went to Atlanta. That was the stopover for connecting flights. She was going to India and I was going to Miami where my sister was living. And in Atlanta, I thought, we're going to miss each other. And so I kissed her.
Dude, whoa. Fast mover. Come on, man.
I said, I don't know. I just felt like, and I did it. And
did she kiss you? Did she kiss you back?
She did. She kissed me back. And I didn't get a slap, that's for sure. Yeah. And then she goes back to India. And what happened is she was going through a rough period with her ex-husband. And she had a 2.5 years old son. No, my son.
Amazing.
Indriyan. And she went to India and I went to Australia and I started being a taxi driver again. And she said, what are you trying to do in your life? Okay, come and visit me and we will talk. And she came from India to Australia. Her parents live in Australia. They migrated in the year 1994 or something. So they've been living in Australia for a long time. So she came to visit her parents, but I went and received her in the airport with her son. The son met me once on the Skype, that's it. But for some reason, the connection in the airport, something happened. He jumped on me. He never goes to anybody. He jumps on me. Ever since, he's never got off.
Amazing,
and
dude.
The bond between
it's meant
us.
To be.
Yes, it has been the most special bonding. More than my wife, it's the son that there's a special bonding. It's a magical experience that I've been through. And ever since, he calls me Loki because it's very special to me. And to him, for more than calling daddy or dad, Loki is much more than that for him. Something very special for him. And that was the turning point for me, for him, for Ishani, my wife. It has changed the life for us. So that was the life in Gold Coast. Then I started realizing when I met my wife, I went and stayed with her in Pondicherry for 6 months to have the bonding with my son. But that was the most magical because I was totally 100% there, leaving everything, not judging anything. And in India, my family is very conservative, and being in such relationship is so much forbidden. But I went through the most joyous process of. Then I started finding, she was showing me the potential for who I am through the relationship, through my son.
So if you don't mind me asking, like prior to that, was there a lot of feelings of just being lost in this world?
Yes,
for a
absolutely.
long time.
A very long time.
Lost, no purpose.
No purpose.
And was that leading to like low self-esteem,
Yes.
low self-worth?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is still is, but the way the communication my wife gives to me is more nurturing. What she says is, it is okay to be nothing. You start from there. And you should accept. The first thing you have to accept is be standing in the mirror in front of yourself and saying, you're okay. People say,
I'm enough.
Yeah, I'm enough. People say, love yourself. That means nothing. You can't say, I love you to yourself on the mirror, which means nothing. You got to realize that this person is nothing and it's okay to be nothing. Life starts from there. Whatever is
powerful.
bonus.
That's powerful, Loki. A lot of people need to hear that, myself included. Yeah.
Thanks to my wife, because she was saying it's all right to be nothing, and the best thing you're doing is being 100% yourself with your son. If you're able to do that, that's enough. You don't need to earn money. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to be somebody. You don't need to have identity. You don't need to have X, Y, Z. That somebody else wanted you to become for their benefit or their value system or their dreams.
Their dream, yeah.
You don't need to be that person. So even today, I'm nothing. But I'm okay with it.
Do you think your son's okay with it?
He is so proud of, because
is your son, like, that's what I mean. Do you think your son cares that maybe you're on a national TV show?
No.
Do you think your son cares if you had no money?
No. He is I'll tell you one thing very important. He is seeing my journey along his side. He is seeing my journey every step. But the thing he is loving it every bit is he is able to see who I am for what I am in a real emotion. Like I am being authentic 100% with him and myself in this world. So that is making him happy. Not because I'm in the television. Not because I'm in podcast. I'm not in some kind of social media, or I'm with I'm so good at something. No, I am being myself. That is what making him happy. I think so. That is what everybody should feel like. Being authentic. That is the real life togetherness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are very perceptive, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
yeah, and like I think it takes a lot of courage to be completely real around them.
Yep.
There's things I find with my children, they're a reflection of who I am, good and bad. So I see my defects come out sometimes through them, and then it makes me realize, like, hey, I do that. So they are the best teachers, in my opinion. Like the best teachers.
100%.
And then for me, it carries just so much I feel like it carries so much responsibility. And like what you just said, I feel like I really have a responsibility to be the best version of myself and the most authentic version of myself. And that is my responsibility as a parent.
Absolutely.
And but it's really scary, dude.
Yes, I'm
petrified.
I agree totally, because every day, it's an everyday work on yourself, and it's very hard. It's like today I've done, tomorrow I get up, I'm the same. No way. You cannot. It is constantly changing, and it is okay. Again, accepting that and being, aware that it's all right, and it's okay to start from there. Acknowledging is important, and acting on that is very important.
It is.
Yeah. And people basically start learning and see the difference from yesterday, today, and from tomorrow.
Wow, man. Yeah. It's really good. I love it. And I'm just like, I'm just listening to you speak with so much passion and conviction, like I really believe what you're saying. And I kind of can tell you live it, know. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I can tell you live it, Now, and I love that your wife has been such a sounding board for your honesty.
Yep.
I know my wife is too as well. And I just, as you were saying it, I just had this thought, and like I was thinking about how many couples split up and how much divorce there is.
Yep.
And I just had this moment. I'm just going to verbalize what's going on in my head. I'm like, maybe that's why so many couples split up, because they can't handle that reflection in the mirror that is given to them by their partner.
Yeah.
And it's painful and it's hard to face up to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe just an observation.
No, that's true.
I mean, relationships are complex, but
that's a major part of nurturing ego in that split. Ego is the center stage of everything, and if you that's what happened in my recent foodie retreat when I went to the mountains, and the mountains speak. You're nothing next to those mountains.
Oh yeah,
and
I've been there, Himalayas.
Yes, and then you surrender your ego there. That's the point. That's the point of realization that you can't have ego. You can. It's not going to nurture your lifestyle or living life healthy.
I think it's going to harm your life.
Absolutely.
What do you give to your wife then? Like your wife sounds amazing, and she, like you were saying, she's helped you tap into your purpose and conscious thinking. What do you think you give to your wife?
So the only thing I can give to my wife back is being myself and learning to work on myself and see all she wants from me is living up to my potential. And if I don't do that,
that's enough for her.
That I think so. That she's authentic about knowing who she is. She's authentic about. That's her purpose. She knows that, and she wants nothing out of from that. Giving. She's all about being the medium. She
sounds very giving.
Very giving, and in return, she doesn't want anything but to live that potential. And if I don't do that justice, it's not justifiable for myself.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, in a way, if I keep it to justified for myself, it is justifying for her. So the only thing I can give her is that by constantly thinking, am I a better person for myself, so that it can reflect and resonate in this world. Am I loving? Am I able to spread that love in this world? And if you're in 35,000 feet and not picking on the nitty-gritty, you raise the people who are on the nitty-gritty will be raised to that 35,000 feet along with you if you have that energy. And that has to spread with everybody in this world. And that will be a better place to be in this world. And that's what it is. That's why people call it in different genres like peace, love, affection. That's to spread affection, spread love. This is what they mean.
It is.
Yeah.
So driving cabs in the Gold Coast, and you're with your wife and your son. Where did you go from there? Did you move to Melbourne from the Gold Coast? Or?
Yes. So from Gold Coast, I went to Pondicherry and spent about 6 months with my family. That is my wife and my son. Being a partner and being a human being in their life, a positive human being in their life, and that created a lot of momentum in positivity. And we said, okay, let's move to Melbourne, live with family, her family, and then start a life, something fresh, working on ourselves every day, which actually indeed gave a lot of joy. But what happened is, in this process, I started working in a real estate firm. Still, it's not my potential, right? So working, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just like I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing like you've done a lot of different things.
Quite a few things
on your journey.
Yeah, I did starting from dishwashing.
Yeah,
I've been a chef a sous chef in a Thai restaurant. I've done many things. Security officer. I've been taxi driver. I've been a babysitter. I've been a gardener. I've been house cleaner. I've been a transporter, like for people transporting one place to another. So I used to pack and put it in a truck, rent a truck. Yeah, I did all sort of. I've been a salesman. I sold cars. I did. You can ask me what I did not do. Maybe there are few, but yes.
So you were working in a real estate firm in Melbourne.
And. And my wife was working in a startup. She was a consultant for startup entrepreneurs in a social startup situation. And she was enjoying her work, but the firm was not so great. But same here. Real estate job was like really hard for me. It doesn't allow me to be who I am. I had to do like a 9-to-5 job. It's like monotonous. You have to. It's like a property manager. So I had to fix everything. My wife said always do 100% of what you're doing, whether you like it or not. So I kind of did that. I got the name, but at the same time I wasn't happy. So then I was watching MasterChef with my son, and one day I said, we have these conversations, and when I told him Indrian, his name is Indrian, I'm not quite happy with my job. And he said, well, in that case, you don't work. I said, but how am I going to, what will I do? He said, you're a butterfly. You can fly and you're colorful and you don't know that and you can do whatever you want.
No way.
That was the exact word when he was 5 years old. And then
kids, man.
I'm watching this. He said, "You watching MasterChef?" And he said, "You're watching MasterChef. You love MasterChef. You love cooking. Why don't you apply?"
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, all right." I never thought of that. I went inside and I asked my wife, "Hey, I'm not happy with the job. I'm going to resign. Are you okay with it? Can you hold the ship?" The answer she gave, "Hey, honey. Actually, I was always holding the ship."
Right.
So you don't need to, think about holding the ship. You can go resign and do what makes you feel happy. And that's when the next day I went to the office, gave my resignation, said, I'm done. I'm giving you 1 month notice. I'm working for that 1 month. I'm giving the notice, and came home and I switch on the computer to apply for MasterChef, realizing then that it was only 2 more hours to close. The entries are going to close. And then I opened it. Okay, it's not going to be hard. And I opened it. It's 300 questions. It'll take about at least 3 hours to write. I said I don't have that time, so I'm going to say yes or no for every answer. And wrote the application in a bizarre way and just told my story in one sentence. And next day I get a call. So that changed my life.
That moment.
Yeah, that moment.
And then, can we go down that rabbit hole a little bit? So then, what was the process from there? How did it all unfold? So they gave you a call. Did you have to go in for an interview? Did you have to do another application?
So they called me and they said, "Are you free on this date? You have to come and cook. We would like you to invite you to." This is behind the scenes of the actual camera for the live show. So this is the first thing. We had to go and do a mystery box challenge in a university where they had a kitchen. There were a few rounds, so I did that, and then they said, after cooking that, they said, yes, you're in. We have second round of cooking, which you can bring your own ingredients and cook. And then we will tell you. It's like about 1,000 people from Melbourne. Overall, they said there are about 25,000 applications, out of which 2,000 people will be selected for the first round. That is what we were going through. And then 1,000, it'll be cut by half. So then they told me that I have to bring my ingredients. Then I went and got the mud crabs. And I cooked my signature grandmother's dish.
At which round? In the final round or
in the
round of 1,000?
And from 1,000, I cooked my crabs. Then they said I'm selected to 250 people. And from 250 people, we go to...
How were you feeling at that stage? Were you starting to get excited, or were you just
was excited. and most importantly, I was enjoying cooking. So I was just, I don't know whether I'll get it or not, but I'm enjoying this cook.
Like, were you used to cooking under pressure like that?
No, it was totally different. So then
So you never really, I mean, you said you were a sous chef in a Thai restaurant, but you'd never really worked as like a trained chef. You didn't do a chef apprenticeship.
No.
Just a dude that likes to cook.
Yes, absolutely. And Thai food is just curry based or stir fried, where you mix 3 sauces, and
Gotcha.
it's an automated mode. So, and I did that, and finally I didn't have any training, but this was an amazing experience. So went and did the crabs curry, and I got selected 250 under 250 people, and that was basically, they do a psychological test and psych test.
No way.
And they asked me a few questions.
You passed it.
Yeah, absolutely. With all the learning that I had in my life, yeah, I passed it. And they said, I'm top 50. Would you like to go and audition for the judges? I said, yes, absolutely. And then I did 8 dishes in 1 hour. That gave me the apron. And
so did you have them planned, or was it just you had to work with whatever ingredients they gave you?
No, you can bring your own.
You can do whatever you want.
So they said you can cook whatever you want, and I thought about this traditional thali, South Indian thali, where there are 8 dishes in a banana leaf that I used to eat and savor it in my life.
So
that's
this is
my favorite.
food you knew.
Yep.
From a child, from an adolescent to an adult.
Absolutely.
So, okay.
And then I loved every bit of it, because the process it's like a wedding platter. And that's what I cooked for them, the judges, and they loved it. The most important thing is, which you would see, I will share you it's everywhere in the link in YouTube everywhere. When I get the apron, I hide it behind.
You hide? What do you mean you
I
hide?
hide it behind.
Hide what?
My apron that I got into MasterChef. So there's a process where you get the apron. When you cook, the judges like it. They give you an apron that's saying that you're in the top 24.
Okay.
And I got the apron, but my family was outside. They didn't see what's happening within where the judges were. And I hid the apron behind me, and I came walking out. My son saw me without the apron. He was devastated. You would see that in that show, how devastated he is. And I'll share you the link as well, Shannon. But his eyes droop down, his body droops down. And then I pick it out from the back, and his eyes lit up. And that is the moment that I sealed for life. Whether I win or don't win, whether the MasterChef, I'm not saying anything bad about it or good about the MasterChef, but the life that moment of his sparkling eyes, that was so happy and proud that I did something for myself. You
think that's where it was? Like that, it was a genuine, like, proud of his dad.
Proud of his dad, because I lived my dream and I was able to live for my happiness. Whether I lived to be the number 1 chef or the best master chef or won awards, no, it's not that. It's that moment where he believed I'm a superhuman being.
Because I think your kids do worry about you.
Yes, they.
I didn't realise that either. That's like my 5-year-old. Even sometimes she overhears my wife and I talking about things, and she'll pipe up and go, Daddy, like, are you okay? Like, or is everything going to be okay? Like, they pick up on it, you know? Like
they know.
And you're like, yeah, darling, everything's going to be fine, you know? Like, but when I was sick last month, she was like trying to look after me and just really concerned about me and coming in and pretending to try and check my temperature and stuff like that. I was like, I didn't really think that, because with your children, you're constantly worrying about them.
Yeah.
Because you feel like that's your job, that's your role. Yeah. But they do. They worry.
Absolutely.
And so his face just lit up.
And
he was there on the journey with you from the start.
And I felt, even today, Shannon, the best moment is that moment for me. It's not replaced by anything. Not the day I met him, or that day when his eyes lit up. And he was so joyful from within. it's magical moment. It is definitely a pixie dust. That's absolutely.
So how'd the journey go from there?
I don't know where to start, but life was treating me so beautiful because I'm able to live truly within myself. Now, that you might get lost, but that's not the worry, because I know that it is the awareness that you have to have, and I'm working on it to catch myself if I'm going off track. And the best teacher and person to point it out is my wife and my son, that's for sure. And with having that dependency at the moment, I'm very lucky because I'm able to work on it every day and every moment, and I'm able to be happy. And every day I'm living that. I'm joyful, so I feel like very contented in a way. I'm still nothing, and I'm okay with it.
You're not nothing.
I'm okay with it. But whatever comes, I'm very happy. Yeah. I feel very happy. I'm able to accept myself, who I am.
Yeah,
that is the strangest thing happened to me in this past 5 years. Yeah. And my wife was everything. I can be something, and I am something, but I'm okay with being nothing.
Yeah.
Starting from there.
I'm with you. Do you feel that, like, I just want to go back to, you were saying about the first dish that you made. It was the 8-course degustation. Is that right?
Yeah, 8-course meal. Basically, it's a wedding platter.
Again, and that was something that you learnt through your life journey, correct? So
yes.
You, like, these are from experiences from growing up in India, and all of a sudden, it was something that actually helped you maybe progress.
Yes.
Okay, and then throughout the show, were you tapping into your past to help you with your food choices? And I'm going somewhere with this, like, in a minute. But so, do you think you were like?
Not quite, because we were in a house of 24 people.
Because you were given tasks. Is that right, or you were given?
So after that cook, we are put into top 24. The house has 24 contestants with different personalities, ego and politics, and you are tested in many ways. In those circumstances, you might lose yourself in the purpose that you have come there to cook.
What, getting caught up in the drama?
Yeah. Personal drama, which is not shown on the television, but that is what television is.
Yeah. And
nobody knows that.
Do you think they try to create that to an extent?
I wouldn't say they wanted to create, but the circumstances made in a certain way that it is being put in. It breaks you mentally and physically, and then you lose your track from cooking.
And so you had to probably have a fair bit of like tenacity and drive and motivation.
Yeah,
correct?
Absolutely. You got to know about yourself 100%. If not, you would not handle it well.
Do you think that you got to learn about yourself because of your journey and all the things that you had to do prior to that?
Constantly.
So the different jobs, the moving countries, the feelings of misdirection and loss.
Absolutely.
And do you think that was actually breeding tenacity?
Absolutely. And it's all connected. Mind you, it is definitely all connected, what you just said. Every experience is not good or bad, it's all connected to who you have to become or you wanted to become.
And if you'd never had those experiences, it wouldn't have led you to that circumstance, which is somewhere you wanted to be. Correct. Yeah.
It's all about your thoughts, and that thoughts becoming reality. Mm-hmm. And that thoughts is being fed in a certain way, and eventually you will understand who you are.
And all that other stuff had to happen. It's like that movie, have you seen Slumdog Millionaire?
I haven't.
You haven't seen it? I haven't seen it. It's a beautiful movie. It's probably my favourite movie of all time.
I haven't.
And it's, without giving too much away, it's about someone's journey, which is manifested through him being a contestant on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And he was able to know the answers to all these questions because of his life's journey.
Correct.
It's like so beautifully made. And he, you know, and that included, you know, the death of his mother, the being orphaned, surviving for himself on the streets, working as a dishwasher in a restaurant, to working as a tour guide at the Taj Mahal. Like, so each question was a link to his past.
Wow.
And like, it's so, like, I mean, obviously it won an Academy Award, and you can see why, but the message was like, you had to go through the journey, you had to suffer.
Correct.
For a reason.
Absolutely.
You know, but what the difference I feel sometimes is that, are you suffering with integrity, or are you wallowing in the suffering? And I think...
Very well said, Shannon.
I don't know if it's true or not, but that's just an observation, and I really feel
Very
like
well said.
As humans, we have a choice. Are we going to suffer with integrity and try and learn from it? And hopefully and to use it as a measuring stick to put us back on our path, our purpose? Or are we using it just to wallow in it and let it hold us back? So
I totally agree.
Yeah.
100%. That.
And that's what just my final point.
Yes.
Sorry, Loki.
No, please.
Is that I feel like where you are at your life right now, and hearing you talk about all those things that you did, which is, I had no idea that you're like real estate taxi driver, and even being you're an immigrant in Australia, which I know would be a very tough place to be an immigrant. I feel, and then ironically, you got thrust into this limelight. And nationally,
yep.
You know, but
yep.
You may have, and people that may love you now, you may have driven them around in a taxi and they might have been really rude to you. And I'm sure you've experienced that.
100%.
So, anyway.
Yeah, but on the point what you said, it's about understanding what you feel, because those two feelings that you said, in your sorrow or
suffering with integrity.
Yes, exactly. So I'm not good with words, but I totally understand what you say. That's what my wife, and it's a constant realization that she puts into my mind. I can suffer and feel the victim and go nowhere, feel victimized, and be the victim and just be in it and do nothing and go nowhere, or be aware that this happened, have a closure to that feeling, because each feeling comes from deep down. If you go deeper within yourself, you'll find the answers to why that happened. Like, for example, you're showing a certain behavior because it is in an auto mode from your childhood, something that happened in your childhood. And if you are able to have 5 minutes for yourself quietly and retrace your steps, you might say, I don't get it, but it's all right. But if you just allow yourself, things will surface to the right answers, what happened in your life. Then you can have a closure, and then you can have an action. Don't need to jump into action every time. You can allow yourself, but not feeling victimized and not from that place.
I love that you've brought up the term victimized. Like, often we do. I do it myself. You go into a victim mentality when things are going bad.
Yep.
Like, poor me. Yeah. Like, it's and I've actually analysed it a fair bit, and I kind of feel like we go into a victim mentality because it's actually a safe place to be.
Yeah, because you're comfort.
It's comfortable because then you can lay down and go, well, I don't have to try anymore.
Very well said. Yeah.
And that's a safe place. And then if you have had some bad things happen to you in your childhood, which I think many of us have,
everybody's gone through in some way or the other.
Yeah. You can keep finding those reasons.
Absolutely.
To go, this happened. But I feel that we all suffer to some degree. And in different ways.
Yep.
For some people, I think it can be prolonged over a long period of time. For some people, it could just be a very short, sharp period.
Yep.
But I think we are all dealt our fair serve of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's how you react and how you
react,
respond. These
How
are
you
two
respond.
things. Yeah,
And I love that your wife is saying that to you, because you were saying earlier about your wife said to you, listen to your intuition.
yeah.
Can I ask you, like, how do you find the time and space to listen to your intuition? Do you pause and wait for the answers to come?
That's a very nice question, because I'm still working on it. But that's
It's a practice, brother.
it is a practice, and it's very funny because it's very hard, but there's a joy in doing it, because when you crack it, you'll feel so joyful,
And it just becomes more easy and just flows better.
Yes, flows automatically. So whatever you learned and which is not feeling right for you is also auto learn. It's auto mode. It is unconsciously, subconsciously, coded. Now you got to decode it and put it into another new coding. Now the way my wife said, stop, question yourself why you're doing it, what you're doing it. If you question that, and if you're coming from a space where like feels irky, that means that's not the right path. If it feels yes, definite yes, and there's a peace resonating with that yes, then it is your intuition. That means you feel easy flow, something that is aligned and free flow, something which is like, for example, I'm taking a bribe from somebody to do something, right? And your conscious says, no, but you want to take it because it is benefiting you, but still that is the energy that is going to block you within. But if you say, I'm going to work hard and this money is coming into your account, and you feel the free flow of money, there's no block, that's joyful for you to spend. But when you spend a bribe money or something, I'm just giving you an example. You don't need to literally take that example, but that is what I'm saying. The block. There's a big difference between money that is given to do some not legitimate and then legitimate.
See what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Some might say that that's your higher power talking to you.
Oh yes, absolutely.
In some religions, that people say, I don't have a God. Well,
yeah.
Maybe that's your God.
That is exactly right. Everybody has the God within. You got to just allow it to come. You can't stop it or be desperate for that. You just have to allow. So the best way to do is, my wife still teaches me, is empty your mind. The way to empty your mind is because let your thoughts pass by. They are not forever. And it's the hardest work, and it is every day. I'm struggling too. So there are many people like me too. But those that by practice, they become better. That's who you become saints.
Yeah, and like that's maybe the path to enlightenment. But going with what you're saying there, I heard a really good quote once, and it was like, feelings are not facts.
Correct.
And they can be so powerful. They come like a storm,
Yeah.
Especially those strong feelings of anger,
Yes.
frustration,
Yes.
love,
Yep.
maybe lust.
Yes.
They come in quick, like a storm, create chaos.
And then
And then in the chaos, we start making bad decisions.
Yep.
Doing things we maybe are not proud of or regret. And then the storm passes and we're left with the debris.
Yes, absolutely.
And the wreckage, and we're like, right, okay.
Yeah.
So it is that.
And spending
You
time
have
to
to
clean up.
weather the storm of our emotions.
Yeah.
Because, like, we're going back to the very, very start of our conversation, you were talking about the mind, and it's a thinking mind, and it is.
Yes.
Because it's a problem-solving tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was designed to help us hunt, gather, survive,
Correct.
run away from lions and tigers.
Yep.
So it's constantly trying to preempt in ways to protect.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's guiding us in the right direction. And
Correct.
like going again, what you said, the guide
Within
is
you.
in here, and
Yep.
then tapping into that
Yeah.
is often blocked by ego and
Yep.
fear.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'm not a guru or any expert or anything, but I guess that's what I'm learning on my journey, because I do like to think a lot about it.
Absolutely.
And what I do, going in terms of this path to enlightenment, and very much in line with what you're saying and what your wife is saying, which, by the way, I'd love to meet your wife and hang out with her.
Absolutely.
She sounds like a legend.
She'll be another cracker. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really working on when I feel that storm coming in of anger,
Yeah.
fear, frustration, agitation,
Yeah.
is stopping and pausing
Yeah.
and just waiting for the right answer to come.
Yeah. But I asked the same question, Shannon, to my wife. See, when you're in anger, you're in a momentum of anger and or anxiety or whatever that emotion, that negative emotion has, is in a deep momentum. It's like it's quadrupled, it's becoming bigger and bigger. Now people say, and many people who are wise also or want to preach will say, hey, hang on a minute, take a minute, count 1 to 10, cool yourself, calm yourself. Yeah, but that's not working for me. I asked my wife, I'm not able to bring it down to 0. I said, you're going in 100 kilometer speed. I'm asking you to break down. If you break down, it'll collapse. You cannot do that. You have to slow your thoughts down. But the best way to slow your thoughts on an anger is basically go general on what makes you happy, on the positive thinking. Like, suddenly, if you shift your vision from your anger, just digressing and thinking about how this universe is working. Wow, sun is working, the energies are working, the earth is holding itself, the planets are holding itself, nobody is doing it, it's doing its work, the sun is rising, the sun is, how beautiful the wild nature. That is general. And the moment you start generalizing, that 2 seconds of the thought will quadruple, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, it'll become minutes, and then your anger subsides because your concentration and your focus is on the general positivity. And then she said, there will be a specific positive idea that is flourishing in your thought. Then go specific.
It's deep, man. That's so good. It's deep. She's right. I
mean,
love it.
It is a lovely thing, but living every day is the hardest part. Everybody gets this information, but they don't know what to do because
putting it into practice is freaking hard, man. Like, it's so hard.
Yeah, it is. But once you start living that, enjoying the fruit, it's amazing. It's
and
very
you think
sweet.
it just becomes more. You start doing it unconsciously. It just becomes
part of you.
Part of your character.
Exactly. And you need at least 37 to 41 days to practice, at least to become a habit.
Yeah.
And getting the 37 to 41 days is the hardest. If people can concentrate that, I think so, myself too, it'll be a very beautiful world.
Oh, I agree, man.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the whole MasterChef thing,
Yep.
like pretty interesting time in your life.
Absolutely.
You like probably would have. I mean, I don't think not everyone gets to experience like being thrust into the limelight like that, and then obviously that has sort of passed now. You'd say,
yeah.
Or is it subsiding?
See, at the end of the day, also keeping myself away from social media, because at the end of the day, I'm a human being. Information, external information can take a form in my mind and put me on my old self, which I am very accustomed to and I'm used to, and I might fall into the same trap. I'm no less. It's about practicing every day, right? So
Gotcha.
There's a race in this world. Who's better than other, and who's doing there's a people who says like, I need to do better than him or her. I need to do, I have to be number one. So this is all race. This is what we've been taught as a child. Somebody has become an engineer. You got to become an engineer. I need to become an IT person because somebody else became an IT person, and somebody's earning good money. So if you go there, this is all about race in where I grew up.
Race as in like, the like sort of the rat race.
Rat race for nothing.
For nothing, yeah.
But people perceive in the storytelling in their mind that is something. Right?
There's an awesome T-shirt I've seen, and it says only a rat can win a rat race.
That's correct.
And it's anyway. But that's it. We've already talked about it. So then, like you sort of you've had that period in your life,
Yep.
and then what's happened since then? Like, Did you relocate to Melbourne? Did you stay in Melbourne, or what happened? I mean, did you have media? Did you, like, it's all finished, said and done? What's the next phase after? What was the next phase after?
Yes, absolutely. After MasterChef, I was in a big limelight for the person who I am, and people wanted to tie up with me, collaborate with me. But
so you were getting a lot of, like, offers, people wanting to ride the wave with you?
Yeah, exactly. Also, many restaurants who wants to tie up and collaborate with me. And at the end of the day, for me, relationship is important, not the limelight and the fame behind it. But eventually, I started realizing that it's for the commercial aspect, for other person to ride on my fame, which was not quite happy for me, because that's not who I am. I'm cooking soulful food, and I want to be that person, and I just genuinely want to be true to myself, and I'm losing that through that. But I did 100% soulful food during those collaborations, but the intent of other people was not in alignment to mine.
And you could pick that out pretty
easily, and anybody can. And
were you getting, like, lucrative offers?
I was, but I said no, because it is not serving the purpose of my intent, and it is totally a mismatch. And thereon, I started taking different decisions of saying, like, at the end of the day, my wife is supporting me, and I felt like I should do something. But that's again coming from an intent of desperation of doing something for the sake of doing, and you won't get anywhere, that's for sure. And then I started realizing and asked, what can we do best in our life at this moment? And she said, a good education that we didn't get in a way that we are not we did not thrive can be given to our son. And then I was like, she said, where else in this world? I want to go remote somewhere. We went to Thailand and checked Chiang Mai to see a small farm and go to school there so that he can live the jungle way. And then finally, in her sleep, my wife said, somebody 4 years ago said, we should check out a school in Bali. I don't know what's the name. And then we Googled what's the alternative school in Bali, and then Green School came up. And then and then I said, well, we'll go for a holiday and check out the school. And we came last year here, and I fell in love with Ubud. That's the energies are intense here. It can go up and down. But yeah, I fell in love with this place, and I said, well, let's move. And my wife asked me a very critical question to test me. Your fame is in Melbourne or in Australia specifically, because people know you more. If you start something in Australia, you would excel, and people recognize you. They know you, so they will come and eat your food. You can become good. So would you want to leave that and come here? I said yes.
Why?
Because at the end of the day, I'm not running behind the things that we're told that I can't get and I'm not worthy of. I'm going behind my passion now, and that passion makes me more joyful. Now, I asked a question. So, do I want to be there, make the most of it, and live in this ride of fame, or I want to be happy and live the most important question is, will I be able to sleep peacefully? Right.
So where I'm a bit confused is, like, you love to make food for people.
Yes.
Like, it does seem very logical to open a restaurant in where you are known, and you can share that with a lot of people because of your newfound notoriety.
Excellent.
So I'm just confused a little bit, because it's like, okay, you've moved to Bali and Ubud. Like, I mean, what are you doing here then for it? Like, what? Maybe I'm a bit unclear on your passion now.
Excellent. Very good question. Now, if I am going to be in Melbourne and creating my food, and that's coming from an intent that I will become famous, people know me. But if I'm confident about who I am and cooking, and I like the place, there are two reasons. And Bali the food scene was amazing.
It is.
And the second part of Bali is, I can express who I am. without having an intention of racing with somebody or grabbing an identity here. And I just wanted to be myself. This place has allowed me to be that person. There could be other places in the world that will allow me, but in Australia, what I felt is I'm becoming somebody, and I had to be that identity. Like, for example,
you'd always be Loki from MasterChef.
Yes, MasterChef.
Oh, there's Loki from MasterChef. Like that's
one thing.
Yeah,
and it would be always like a race. Okay, there's my fellow contestants becoming this. That's not what I want to do. You know, you are a human being, and I'm pretty sure that we're all taught how to be jealous and how to be, lose yourself in the process of becoming something. We definitely have those qualities. It's always a constant work on yourself, and that is what I think. So I want to eliminate that myself and be in a different environment so that I don't even allow myself to pick up that. At this age, I'm only looking for a genuine, authentic relationship with myself. And with that energy, I think so people around me, I'm going to attract only that.
Gotcha.
If my mindset is positive, I attract that. Now, there, I felt that my mindset won't be... It's constant worry and constant anxiety. It's constant catch up with people. Constant, what am I going to do? Who am I? And it resonates so much of my family back in those days, being nothing, that will resonate in grabbing, greed, those kind of feelings. So I want to eliminate that. That's why I chose here. Dude, but there could be another place as well.
Dude, it's just so awesome, man. Like, it's rad. You're a legend.
Thank you.
Because so many people, it would have been so many people would have defaulted to that first option. It's like, I've got some fame. I'm gonna capitalize on it. But that mentality is kind of what is ruining our society as well.
Yeah.
Like, we have to capitalize. And why are we trying to capitalize? Because it all comes back to profit.
Yes.
And to me, what you're saying, it's like, no, I don't want to. I'm not worried about profit. I want to be me.
Yeah.
And I want to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to be pragmatic as well, because you have a family to support.
Yes.
So it seems like you're being pragmatic by creating your food retreats to Himalayas.
Yes.
So can you tell us a bit about it? Like, 'cause that's so cool. Like, what a great reason to go to the Himalayas.
Oh, absolutely. The most important thing I learned through this journey of food is getting things from the supermarket where it has been processed, and getting it from the shelf and not knowing what's gone behind it, or even the supply chain for that instance, and not even knowing the story who produced it. And one day I realized, I'm eating this food. One day when I was having this lovely food, still today's breakfast is good, all right? I still agree to that. But
yes.
What I meant is, one day when there was a moment where I had a soulful food. The first thing that came to my mind is, man, I want to know the person, he or she, who worked in the field to make that ingredient alive. That came naturally to my mind, and I said, whoa, I only know that this ingredient came from the shelf. Now, it could be a machine, it could be anything behind it. I don't know anything about the supply chain. Then I started understanding that there is so many things happening behind this supply chain. And how much are the farmers are getting for the food that they're being produced for this big, massive giants, and what peanuts they get, and what... So that energy is actually shifting there while this is happening. They are not happy. And then I said, okay, let me know the entire process. Then I went for this Indian trip myself with my family. And then I stumbled across this lovely resort called Binsar Forest Retreat. And there they were self-sustained, 8 cottages within the wild. And they are off the grid. And I learned a lot from there. I saw those farmers walking 13 kilometers up the hill to pound a grain full of rice for about 1 hour. And I said, so much of energy goes into it. and we're getting so much, and we're wasting so much in this shelf,
Yep.
which is made in the machines.
Mm-hmm.
And I was totally connected the whole story when I went there in the farm and saw their livelihood. And they're self-sustained. They grow everything in their farm, and it's so delicious. 100 million times better than the store-bought.
Yes.
Because I know how much work went within,
Yeah.
and what actually the ingredient, the process has been, and what is minimalized is taking out the nutrients to make it live longer on the shelf. That is absent here. It's directly from the farm to the process where they hand pound the rice and then to your table, and you eat it. That energy is transferred directly to your soul. It's nourished, and you feel,
Dude, 100%. And like, I also believe that connecting to your food is the foundation of sustainable thinking and environmentalism.
correct.
So I teach like a permaculture and nutrition studies class, and I'm at the moment teaching the students how to build what we call no-dig vegetable gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually this 10-step process where we're building a garden bed, but it's got layers of compost and straw and manure and greens.
Mm-hmm.
And what's effectively happening is that will decompose in the garden bed and build the soil quality. And I was telling the kids, when you have nutrient dense and quality soil, you produce nutrient dense quality food.
Correct.
Okay, and then you ingest that, and then you become nutrient dense.
Yes.
And then you're less susceptible to illness, cancer, ill health.
Absolutely.
Then that's, if you can sort of realize that, then you start thinking about, hey, I don't want our waterways polluted, because I've got to water my plants with that water and build the soil. Or I'm not going to throw that piece of rubbish,
Yep.
because that's going to, or I'm not going to, like I said, they start making more conscious decisions around that. And then I was saying how with some of these big supermarket chains where they're sourcing their food from other countries, which is okay, but then they freeze them and then they transport them, and sometimes from where they were picked to where when you actually purchase them, it could be up to 3 weeks. And the stat I've read is that a lot of fruit and vegetables lose approximately 10% of their nutrient density per day.
Correct.
So when we eat it, it's got no nutrient quality whatsoever. So it's all about marketability and making profits at the consequence of our health. But like you were just saying, you go to the rice fields and you actually watch the farmer pick the rice and then you cook it right there.
Yep.
It's a spiritual process, but it's also like the best thing you can do for your health.
Yeah.
And I really do feel that people need to start learning the art and the craft of growing their own food, because it can be done nearly anywhere, in any circumstance. And I really feel that if that was happening more, we could look at our health statistics, and I guarantee the general physical health of our population would increase.
Absolutely.
But then that leads to community gardening, which would then increase social health. And from social health breeds empathy, and that could reduce violence and crime.
100%. It's
It's
a cycle.
and it goes in line with what you're saying. And I'm super passionate about it, because
I can see that.
Food is power.
Yeah.
Food is a teacher, in my opinion, and changing my food habits has done so much for me, regardless of the fact I've been sick for the last month. But anyway, there's my rant again. But you were saying it, I'm just sitting here going, yes, dude, you're right. Like, we need to be eating seasonally, we need to be eating local, and we need to be eating ethically.
Yes, absolutely. That's my journey now at the moment.
And I can is it? It is, isn't it? That's what I'm getting from you.
100%, and it is a everyday's work, and simple statement. Period. It's everyday work for everything within yourself, within how you abide by and how you live your life. And it's not about preaching; it's about yourself and living that to the full potential is the most important thing per day. Period.
I agree. So why the Himalayas for your food retreat? Is that where you're going to go every time, or
I would like to go to different places. There's so many places in this world where you can tap into energy. Whether it's food, the area, the vibe, the thing. It's about your alignment within yourself, and that alignment comes from a place where it allows you to be aligned. And it is important. You can go to Himalayas, or you can go even a quiet space in your bathroom also, but you got to be aligned. It is important that that place has that energy. So that's why I'm choosing the Himalayas, because nature has created abundance of positivity already, and you can't do that in the city because it's all chaos, and that you don't have a moment of quietness to even appreciate what it is, the either food or your life or your good moments. You don't have time to appreciate it in the chaotic life, in the busy life.
So you're wanting to connect people to their food and the land.
The most important is through food. I want them to connect to themselves.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like I do see the difference when I eat different types of food that is not suitable for me. I feel a certain way, and then there's certain food which nourishes me that I feel different on those days. So it's about knowing yourself. It's like manuring your body through food.
Man, it is. It's true. And I've gone through phases where I've been really strict with my diet.
Yep.
But almost too strict.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that there's some food that is just soul food. Like, I went out for my anniversary with my wife on Saturday night. Went to a really nice restaurant in Seminyak. And I didn't go for the healthy option, man. I had a huge rack of pork ribs. Yep. Covered in a homemade barbecue sauce that was full of sugar but the meat was really good quality, and it wouldn't be regarded as a healthy meal. I had French fries that were deep fried, but it was like so joyful.
Yep.
And me and my wife are laughing, and I'm covered in barbecue sauce on my face. It's all stuck in my beard, and my fingers are dirty. I'm licking my fingers, and she's laughing at me, and she's eating it as well. And it's like soul food, bro.
Yes.
So it was like, like it's the balance, isn't it? I don't know. Opposed to
the most important there, rather than naming it as balance, I would say the worst enemy for you is guilt. And when you have a food that is, people say it is unhealthy, but I say it, if you're conscious and you're happy to have that without any guilt, the word guilt in your mind, I'm eating this, I'm going to be fat, I'm going to put on, I'm going to die. Yes, you will, because you're having the negative thoughts towards that food.
Yeah.
But if you're saying, man, I know that's unhealthy for me, and people have said about it, but I'm not guilty because I love to have that today.
Yeah.
And you're allowing yourself to be that person.
Yeah.
That guilt in any format, forget about food, in your life, that's what killing you. Guilt. Like,
shame.
Shame. It's cousins, brothers and sisters. They're all under one category. So shame, that's very important thing. Shame, like, you're meant to make people, because of their value system in your past, in my experience I'm talking about, that they made you feel shameful, they made you feel guilty, and you allowed it to feel yourself shameful. You allowed it to be that, carry that guilt and feel that guilt. Now, that's what I'm talking to my son every time. Don't make yourself feel guilty or responsible or shameful or, for someone else's value system.
It is what it is. Like, I'm working on that, and because it can hold you back so much. It can be debilitating,
Correct.
And that's why, like, for me, there's that philosophy of living one day at a time, and it really helps me with that. And it's like, okay, sometimes you mess up.
Yep. And it's totally all right.
You do, and it is all right, but I think we've been conditioned that it's not okay.
Yep.
And that I'm a bad person or whatever. Well, no, you're just a human.
Yeah. And the best way to see that, Shannon, the best way to see is eliminate every single person in your life at that moment, and you got to talk to yourself how you feel, and what, not on the value system of others, it's on your value system of yourself, that how you feel, you can make choices, better choices. It's only choices. There's no bad or good. You take these choices, the consequences are this. You take that choices, consequences are that. that consequences or that consequences, both the consequence 1 or 2, which is sitting well with you is what you're going to choose. That's it. Simple.
Yeah.
It's actually simple. We complicate things.
We do.
Yeah.
It is. You're right. We're complex, us humans.
Yeah. How the most complex being on earth.
We are. Man, it's weird. So the Loki Cooks Fellowship, man, like when I was reading about that, I was like, that's so cool. Like, was that just born from a desire to give?
That's again. I would like to bring my wife back into this conversation.
Your wife.
Too much. My wife influence.
No, not too much. It's good. It's really nice.
Yeah. So she said, "I've seen you grow. I mean, I heard you grow. I heard your life. That whatever you grew up in your childhood is all based on not having certain things in your life. Basically, you didn't have certain motivation, certain back support, family support, nobody to listen. So those were the reasons. I'm not saying that it's bad, but those were the reasons that I have made certain choices in my life, which didn't quite sit well with me because I'm living somebody else's value system. Now, she said, there are people who are going through this, but I'm not a millionaire to support everybody. But the person who has the most, that connects well to me, that the purpose and the value system that he wants to build it up for himself or herself, is where I want to support. And my wife said, isn't that what you want to do? Don't you want to be a mentor? Do you feel like... First of all, the question was like, I definitely want to empower somebody. And I want to empower the next generation. The reason why I want to empower is the system that I wanted to build for myself, and people should, I wouldn't say should, but they should allow themselves, is that they should express themselves freely. Now, that's what I was stopped when I was not allowed to express myself.
You never had that opportunity. So you want to create that?
Yes. Now, I don't want to build somebody as a person of my value system, but I want to give them a piece of blank sheet. I said, draw what you want to draw in your mind. I don't want you to draw... I have a butterfly in my mind. Please draw that. No, I won't. I'm not going to put that in your mind. I'm not going to put the seed in your mind. I'm going to give you the tools to express yourself, the platform where to express yourself and be yourself.
And the space to do it.
Absolutely. Now, if I have a restaurant tomorrow, I don't have any hierarchy system like head chef, sous chef. No, I won't have. All chefs are one. And if a person creates his dish or her dish, I definitely will bring their name forward, and they have to own it. It's theirs. I don't want to own it as an entity, because I understand that teamwork helps, but it is important to build one's confidence levels and their self-esteem up through these kind of platforms, and I believe in that.
That's so good. So it's really collaborative. You're a collaborator.
I would say co-creating.
Co-creator. Yeah. Not a leader?
I'm not a leader. I definitely do not feel I'm a leader, but I feel I learn from them a lot.
Or the spark. Maybe the igniter. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm just
the igniter.
I don't know.
That's
You're
nice.
igniting something, but I love that co-creation. It's very humble, Loki.
I mean,
it's a very humble approach.
I would love to be that person, because then I feel that I'm true to myself.
Yeah. And then, like you said, the inspiration will keep flowing, because I kind of feel like if you're just in the leadership position and you want to build something, like, what's the end game? Like, you just keep getting bigger and bigger?
Yes.
I don't know. What's the end game?
There are beautiful leaders. I won't say, like, the next generation has to have such a beautiful leaders who can lead from the front end, because they have the capacity. Now, certain people are meant to lead if they have the right intent.
Gotcha.
But if you are making it about yourself and the sole purpose is you, I don't think so. They will be lost somewhere down the lane.
Not sustainable.
Not sustainable, absolutely. It's going to crash.
Brother, man, it's been epic. It's been an hour and 48 minutes.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even realize that. I didn't realize that. It was lovely talking. It was amazing.
Thoroughly enjoying. I mean, how are you feeling? Like, is there anything else you want to talk about or say? Is there anything else you want to say? Is there something else you'd like? You've put some amazing ideas out there,
Yep.
and some amazing philosophies,
Yep.
and like I've got this theory that like this podcast thing, the podcast is choosing my guests, like it's choosing my teachers, because I'm learning so much from everyone I speak to, and often people that are aligned with a similar way of thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be completely transparent here. I was intrigued by you when I first heard about you. My wife knew who you were. I don't really watch much TV, and I did miss the MasterChef thing, but my wife, I think she's seen you one day and she's like, I'm going to get she got a photo with you.
Yes, I remember that.
She's like, he's a really good guy. Like, you know, he's got good values. He was like the people's favourite just because he was such a good guy. I'm like, okay, and I did some research, and I think the thing that hooked me in to have you as a guest ultimately was that I love the scholarship program that you want to start. I read a lot about that, but I was a bit reluctant because I've like reality TV, and I'm kind of like, oh, that stuff, it's not real. But again, I just had a really good feeling about it, and I'm starting to really work on exactly what you're talking, working on that inner voice that says yes.
Yeah. And
I have had a few occasions where it's just said no, and what do you know, those interviews haven't worked out.
Yeah.
Something's happened, like the person can't make it, or we can't schedule, or whatever. So I just want to say, like, I feel like it was really, you were meant to be on, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and you've taught me so much.
I learned it as well.
In an hour and 50 minutes, I have, you know.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your passion.
Thank you.
But I also want to thank you for your humility.
Thank you.
That's been a big part of my learning journey, trying to shed the ego.
Thank you.
I think it's paradoxically very powerful.
It's a reminder for me as well. So whatever I talked, I should be reflecting and helping myself too. So it's a vice versa, helping each other.
High five, brother. And like, I got to meet your wife. I think I actually have met your wife, but I'd like to. I think we need to go out to dinner, the four of us, and hang out. Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But one thing I would like to end up with the conversations never end, but I would like to end with a note. But when you said it's a reality show, yes, that's true. But the way I saw it is, it came into my life to teach me. But there is one important line that I learned from my wife. When you know what you don't want, you know what you want. So things will be thrown at you,
true.
And you will feel what you don't want.
Yeah.
But that means you know what you want.
It's so true, but you had to experience it.
I have to experience it.
But I just want to clarify, I don't think it's a negative thing to be on a reality TV show, especially one like that where there is so much talent required.
Yep.
Like, it's not just people sitting around a swimming pool talking about their problems. It's like, I mean, oh my God, like some of the stuff you do under pressure I can't imagine like being under pressure, time limits, cameras, probably lighting, and all the stuff that we don't see behind the scenes, and then the competitive aspect of it, and probably, you know, going up against some very big personalities. Like, oh man, like I know for a fact I wouldn't cope in that environment at all.
But the most important thing to concentrate on and focus on is about yourself in that environment. Yep. It's about who you are will be shown very clearly within yourself.
Understand.
And that's, you just have to be aware. Awareness is the key part within yourself, and grab onto that awareness and make choices. That's where I'm practicing. So that is till my death. Period.
I think that's a beautiful way to end, brother.
Thank you.
Another high five. Loki.
Yes, thank you very much.
And actually, you know what? Look, one last thing. Sorry. So, is there anything you want to plug? Do you want to plug your retreat? When's the next one? Anything like that? I'm happy to do all that.
I would update it on my thing because I'm taking it as it comes. I haven't planned. I'm not a planner. My wife is a planner, and she does tell me take it seriously.
Your wife's a guru.
And I would like to do a lot of retreat for people who want to immerse themselves and learn for themselves. Is nothing to do with me. I like to go impromptu and co-create then and there. So there could be many other things coming during the next year. I would like to do pop-ups and do. I'll keep you posted in my website called Trust the Loki.
Trust the Loki. It's a great website. I had a look at it last night. Actually, one more thing, Loki. Part of my, I've actually written down a whole bunch of podcast goals and objectives I have, and it's growing, and I'm slowly ticking off my goals in terms of what I want to achieve. One of the things was I'd like to give every guest a gift.
Yes, please.
And I'm new and I'm starting, and I'm fairly new. You'll be episode 32.
Oh.
But I want to give my guests a gift, and it was going to it's going to progress into t-shirts and hats, maybe a coffee mug. Who knows? But I'm starting very humbly, and I'm going to give every guest a sticker for Terrible Happy Talks. But I'm actually making it so these are only reserved for Terrible Happy Talks alumni. So you're now an alumni, so you get this. So the only people that get them are people that have been on the show. So I know amazing. It's only a sticker, but it's just like a small show of gratitude for your time and energy. It's just been beautiful. I got goosebumps talking to you, brother. So
thank you.
Right on, and so these are stickers.
Thank you so much.
Stickers. Yeah. All right, my friend.
Thank you. And you can follow me on @LokiCooks Instagram just for any updates that I might be going through. All my stories usually are quickly updated on my Instagram, then on my website Trust the Loki. I take inspirations from anywhere and everything, and that's loaded on my Instagram. So your sticker is going to go on my Instagram too.
Yes. Hey, do you put recipes on your Instagram?
I do.
So people can go there and check out recipes?
Absolutely. I do a lot of recipes there.
Yeah, I noticed that. I know. I started to look at it and I'm like, I'm going to do
this. It's all over the place, but that's because I'm genuine and authentic. I'm not asking for anybody professionally to help me out, because I don't want to showcase the not me person. I might become professional, but I don't want anybody to showcase me professional right now without any genuinity. So I want to be authentic, and that's what you get. What you see, what you get.
All right, brother.
That's me. Lovely talking to you, and
mate, let's enjoy you, bud. Let's have another coffee.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, my friend.
Always for a coffee.
Dude, I'm so glad to have met you. All right.
Me too, Shannon.
All
Thank you so much.
See you,
and thank
brother.
you, listeners. Bye-bye.